Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. By the way, we can talk in Punjabi as well because I'm a Punjabi.
Oh, what's up?
So
Very good. Very. Where are you from? Kitho?
मैं संगरूर तो हाँ sir.
Oh,
So
very
it's
good. Very good. That's great talking to
it's
you.
so if I can just share something. So I tried to contact Round Glass Punjab as well, but then because I didn't know what is the difference, and then I read about it, and then I got to know that you sold it, right? You sold Minerva Punjab, and that is my first
I
question
sold.
to you.
I sold. Nee, see, I didn't sell Minerva Punjab. I sold Punjab FC. Minerva
Yeah.
Academy is still with me. So the academy and the entire center and the entire setup is there, and that is where we are not only running Minerva, we also running Delhi FC from.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was reading about. That what is the difference between between this that it became round class Punjab FC. It was Punjab FC, and then I think you sold it in 2019 or 2020,
20.
right?
So what happened was, see, earlier was Minerva Punjab, and that was my club. But then I took out Minerva, and the last year we just played as Punjab FC because I knew the deal is coming through. So that when I had to sell, I can only just sell Punjab FC. And then when I sold Punjab FC, they added their name in front as Round Glass Punjab. So what I sold was exactly the players which I had signed on and all the under 13, 15, 18 champion teams which we had. So that, they didn't have to start at the base and they had money so
Hmm.
that they could just start at the top. And that's what they are tried
But
to
what were
achieve.
the reasons to sell Punjab FC?
See, reason was that I realized then that for the next 3 years, there's no point of playing in the I League. See, if you will play in the I League, minimum expenditure is around 3 to 4 crores a year. So after 4 years, they said there'll be promotion. So there's no point playing in a league where there's no promotion, but there is relegation. That means if you come last, you will go to second division. But even if
Hmm.
you win it, the only way you can go up is not because of how good you are, but because of if you can pay 18 crores a year to Mr. Ambani, which I found was very unfair because
Hmm.
the sports is about merit. It's not about who has more money. It's about who is better in the game. And the best of the game should be allowed. Simple. Olympics is
Hmm.
not about the richest people in the world. It's about who's the best in the sport. So you
Hmm.
can't have a league which is only decided by how much the club can afford. That means that the club can pay the fees. And on top of that, you can't have a closed league. You can't say, okay, these teams, no matter how bad they perform every year, even if they come last, which some of the teams have been coming, every time you can't get relegated. So
Hmm.
there's no competition in that. And they're only the top 3 or 4 clubs which at the end of the day are fighting for the top floor places. Then it
Hmm.
becomes after you half a season, you come to know who are the top five and bottom five. Everywhere in the world, wherever the top leagues are, you always have promotion and relegation.
Hmm.
And everywhere in the world, there is a system where you get into the league and you're promoted not because of how much money you have, but because if you won the
Hmm.
league or not.
That
So that's
the structure
why
of Indian football is changing now. I heard that it's going to change, and now
it's
that
going
there
to
is
change.
going to be relegation and promotion. Yeah.
Exactly. So that my aim was that instead of spending money right now, it's better to sell right now and then prove to the
Hmm.
world that it is not tough coming back to the same place within 2 years as long as you have a youth development system, which I had. And I knew that I could be back to the I League level within 2 years. So I sold it in 2020, and in 21 we almost qualified. And this year we are already in second division I League. We are the first team to qualify as state champions of Delhi. So
Hmm.
within almost a year and a half of me selling the club, I'm almost back to the same place where I started off. As so there's no lost thing because the entire the infrastructure here of the 25 acres which I have with the physiotherapy center, the gym and the pool and the football fields and the hostels and the mess, everything is still with me. So the only thing I sold was the name and the entry to the I League, which they
Hmm.
got for money instead of actually fighting for it. That's it.
All right. So, but I think that the structure, if the structure of Indian football changes, I think that'll be really good because we'll get, like you mentioned, if there is no competition, there is no point in watching game. Then it's like you're watching friendlies everywhere. Exactly.
Exactly. See,
So
someone who knows
that
that there is no point of playing and I'm going to get out, they're probably not even going to play their best teams. They are not going to even the players there are not going to fight because they know there's no point of fighting for the game because you just save yourself for the next season and don't get injured. And that is
Hmm.
why most of our players don't know how to fight. They are always losing matches in the second half. And India, I'm talking about. And earlier that never used to be there because even the bottom team is actually fighting as hard as the top team because they are going to get relegated and the top team was obviously fighting for
Mm.
promotion. So the bottom three, four are fighting for relegation, and top five, six are fighting for this. So everyone is fighting for something at all times, and that's what a league should be. And then the the league below it is fighting for promotion to the top league. So unless you have
Absolutely.
that system where there's a triangle and on the top, and you can reach that no matter where you are. So this is the belief, but game is so beautiful. That's what they call it, the beautiful game. That no matter how small a club you are, if you're good enough,
Hmm.
you can win the league. Like Leicester, like Leicester did
Hmm.
it. So if you thought that, okay, how can you win against Man U, Man City, Liverpool, Tottenham, every big team which is there? How can Leicester win it? If they thought like that, they would have never entered the league. They knew that it's only about the best team winning. Now that used
Hmm.
to be possible in I League. So when Mohun Bagan, East Bengal, Bangalore FC were there, Minerva won the I League, and so did Iceball, by the way. And they're both
Hmm.
small teams. So we proved that the dream is possible. You can dream. But now what they've done is they've killed the dream because there are no small teams in the ISL. Each is owned by a
Hmm.
billion. So there's no small team there. So there's no kind of a dream. It's always like either a Real Madrid fighting with a Barcelona or a Man U fighting with a Man City. There's no,
Hmm.
a big upset which is going to happen ever.
Absolutely, and that is what we see in Premier League. Even if you're playing against a Norwich City or a Leeds United or maybe a Burnley team, then you have to give it all, even in that match, because you know what, there can be an upset because the
Because
team
Burnley is
would
trying to play for that upset against Man United.
exactly,
And Man United is trying to make sure that Burnley doesn't beat us, man. So both of them are
exactly.
fighting against it. Exactly.
That is the beauty of the game. That is why you watch it, because anything can
And that
happen
is
in
what
it.
they're doing. See, the whole beauty of the game is I've never seen a bag of money score goals. It's always 11 men versus 11 men. That is why a team like Greece can go and win the Euro. And that
Hmm.
is why a team like Iceland can reach the finals of the Euro. They are 300,000. 300,000, 3 lakh. 3 lakh हमारे दिवाली के
Hmm.
मेले में होते हैं. It's true. Again, I keep on saying that all the time.
No, that is absolutely right. And what you have done with Delhi FC is incredible. But if you can tell me that where do you want to see Delhi FC? What is the aim? Where do you want to take the club?
So the aim is always to give back to the people of Delhi because they've given me so much of love. The fans which we have been able to gain within a year are equal to the number of fans Delhi Dynamos had in 5 years, and that's an ISL club. So all the fans of Delhi Dynamos and especially the ultras who were the die-hard supporters, they have all shifted their loyalties towards us because, and not only that, shifted loyalties towards us, but we made them members and part of the club. So they are as much part of the decision making body as me and everyone else. They are part of the actual daily decision making club. So that's what we wanted to become, of actual fans club. So they say that Delhi doesn't have the culture. Their culture is there if you go and actually make it the people's club, and it's not a corporate structure to it. And that's not what we have. So in within a year, not only do we have the maximum number of fans, within a year we won a national title in futsal, we won a state title in our state in futsal again, and we won a state title there. We've reached the quarterfinals of Durand Cup. In that, we beat Kerala Blasters, an ISL team. We drew with Bangalore FC. We lost to FC Goa, who were the eventual champions. So, within a year of forming, I mean, me taking over, I think that's a splendid performance. I mean, I don't
Hmm.
think any other club has won 3 titles this year. And doing that in a COVID year is again even a greater thing. We were the first club to qualify for this. So next year, I would like to make sure that we qualify, we win the second division, and we are in the I League, and we were this close this time. And hopefully, the promotion and relegation, as they have promised, starts. So then we are fighting for promotion to the ISL, to the top division. That is the ultimate aim. Ultimate aim is to get, and you can name it. See, I don't have anything against ISL or I League, whatever the top division is. No matter what, we want to go there, and we want to go there, and we want to prove to the world that even if you do not have any money, like we don't have any money or backing or sponsors or corporate companies supporting us, you can get there as long as you have a grassroots system present who can support you. So what we have, which no other club has, is a residential academy which
Hmm.
produces India's best. 30 to 40% of all ISL teams have taken players from 30 or have players from us. That means each team has at least 3 or 4 Indians who have been signed by our academy, which is a huge number because there's just one academy. That means every one out of two products which is coming out is being taken by a club, because we've just been there for 5.5, 6 years now. And
Hmm.
the whole point is to show everyone that it's, even if you have nothing and then you start from the very base, you can get to the very top, and again, not by spending money but by focusing on the youth. And this is the second time
Absolutely.
we do that. Yeah.
That is so good to hear all this. It feels good just to know or just to talk to somebody who has that passion. And especially since you're the owner of the club. That brings me to my next question. So, see, I follow Liverpool. I'm a Liverpool fan. So, you question the owners, कि क्या कर रहे हैं यार मतलब थोड़ा ढंग से कुछ better investment दो पैसा दो. Why is it like we are not signing any players like before Luis Diaz? That was the narrative. So it always goes like that. But what are the challenges that an owner faces? It's just not like we see something, but there might be many things in the background that we don't know about. So what are the challenges that an owner
See,
has to face?
it depends, especially on which league you're playing in and where you're playing. Suppose, and so they have different challenges. For example, if you're playing in the I League or in the ISL, your number one challenge will be funds. Unless you are owned by a billionaire like Goenka is, or Mohan Bagan, or Sri Cement is, or any one of those billionaires is, then you have a very set budget and it doesn't matter to you. But for example, if it's a private person running the club, like one of my friends is running Northeast, JB and John Abraham, both together in partnership, they have to raise the money every year, or they have to get sponsors every year somehow to make forth. So that is their main concern, just to stay alive. So it depends on which league you play. And then for me, for example, my concerns are uh, more to do with my World Cup batch, which is my under 12s, my 10, 11, 12s. That's my priority number one. And that's what my priority will be till the time India reaches the World Cup. See, I don't believe you get legacy by winning I League titles or even ISL titles, or by the way, even AFC Cup titles or AFC Champions League titles, because every year a different club will win the title, and that will happen
Hmm.
every single year. So I believe legacy is making sure you produce players for your country, and those players go and get India to the World Cup. That is going to be legacy, because do something which is never going to be repeated again, because for the first time when you play for the World Cup, it will always be for the first time. The same way, the first goal which India has ever scored in the World Cup can never be taken away from Minerva Academy, because it's a Jackson boy who's done it. The same way, the first time we ever beat Argentina, the winning goal was scored by another Minervan, Anwar Ali. So these are the things which I live for. And the first time an Indian was featured in a top 60 world's Guardians list, Vikas Shivnam, again, it was another Minervan. So these are the things which now are my priority. And that's what I sleep and dream about. The senior team is more like on with running with my experience of being on automatic, and I think it's good enough now to at least make sure that we are in the I League just on what we have gained, because the kind of players we are producing on a daily basis from our academy, we don't need to go out and search.
Absolutely. And you know what is the best thing that I feel that you have been doing as an owner? That is talking to the content creators. And I have seen you like almost on every channel. That is so good because we understand what you're going through, what you're putting out there. So what that gives us perspective a lot. That gives us a window to look at the club from that perspective, to see what is their aim. You might achieve it, you might not achieve it, that doesn't matter, but you're going for it. So that gives a lot of
Exactly.
confidence and motivation to us
See,
to
the point
see
is,
where they're.
Nikita, the point is they don't go for it. No one makes a plan and goes for it. And they just keep on planning for 4 years in advance, or next year or next to next year. We are never going to get there unless we believe that we are the world's best. We have to first believe it. Only then we'll be able to do it. See, you can only dream what you can only do what you can dream. People say that dream small. I say dream big, man. Dream the biggest you can ever big. And then not only just dream, focus all your life's energies towards that dream. That means work hard, work your ass off every single day, morning till night, focus on that dream. So you aim for the sun, you'll be in the stars. But if you aim for the top of the tree and you miss that aim, tum ped pe tange hoge kahin. So the whole point is making sure you are going for the top. See, Indians do not like to support unless us or any game unless you're world class. So India started supporting cricket properly in 1983 after we became a world power and we won the World Cup.
Hmm.
The revolution in Egypt for football came with Mohamed Salah came up. So we are just, see, people think it's about the World Cup. No, it's not. We are just waiting for the first Mohamed Salah. And
Hmm.
that can come. See, the moment that happens, then Indians start believing that we are as good as the world's best. And we already are. See, we just have to prove
Hmm.
it to ourselves. We already are. We just don't know it yet. When I say we already are, is because at the level of 15 or under 12s or under 13, which I will prove it right now when I play against Man City or Barcelona, we are as good or even better than them. The problem happens between the 16 and 20 levels. And that is
Hmm.
where, why? Because our boys do not get any game time at all. See, us, forget about our seniors. The juniors outside play 70 to 80 matches a year. Our juniors do not play more than 7 to 8 or 10 matches. And that's also, I'm talking about a champion team like us, which reaches the final. 10 to 12 matches in a season. So how can you become champions if you play 12 matches? You need to play more football than the best to become better than them. You can't play one-fifth the football they are playing.
Hmm.
And that is the problem happening. Then all the people like Komal Thatkal who were great in the World Cup just fall down because they've been made to sit on the bench. We don't trust our youth because end of the day, we don't trust ourselves. See, we have
Hmm.
reached world level in every sport. You talk about tennis, we won Grand Slams. You talk about athletics, now we've got Neeraj Chopra who won this, and earlier we had Milka Singh who could run fast.
Badminton.
Yeah, badminton, you talk about table tennis, you talk about weightlifting, you talk about boxing, you talk about wrestling, you talk about any sport, man, we are reaching the world's best
Hmm.
hockey, except in football. So it's not that Indians can't do it, Indians can do it. The ones who are running the sport are fucked up. They are the ones who are
Hmm.
responsible for making sure India doesn't come anywhere near it. Because since the ISL came in, they have just let off hands go. That कि हमने तो करना नहीं जी, FSDL ने हमारे को खरीद, ठीक है? Now when you do that, FSDL is a private company. They care about only one thing, what they own, which is ISL. You
Hmm.
look at ISL as a product, it's awesome, man. It's brilliant. Look at the production, look at the marketing, look at the way they. I'm not talking about the football. I'm just talking about the way everything around it.
Even the
Perfect.
broadcasting of it, the pre-match
Yeah,
shows, the
exactly.
halftime shows, they are very good. Even the post-match shows are very, very good. I've just started following ISL from the past this
Exactly.
season.
Imagine. So it's world class. It's world class.
Hmm.
So problem is happening at the lower levels. There is no level, lower levels. Normally क्या होता है pyramid system में pyramid ऐसा triangle pyramid ऐसा होता है इंडिया में ऐसा है
Hmm.
क्यों है बिकॉज सबसे ज्यादा टीम्स कहाँ पे हैं आईएसएल में 12 अब 11-12
Hmm.
इस
Yeah.
साल 12
Hmm.
या अब दो और इंक्रीज करेंगे 13 हो जाएगी
Hmm.
एंड आई लीग में कितनी है 11 एंड
Hmm.
उसके बाद अगला क्या सेकंड डिवीजन कितनी है 9 और थर्ड डिवीजन है ही नहीं so it's like this it just finishes
Hmm.
whereas in other countries suppose there are 20 top division clubs so there'll be 2000 clubs in division 6 because there'll be 20 division
Hmm.
6 that means every state will be a division 6 then there'll be division 5 and then 4 and 3 and 2 and 1
Hmm.
so you have competition right from the bottom that what does that do that shows you can't just find players in the top division okay that's just a little limited amount of players the national team coach can even look at Division 1 and Division 2. The top striker of Division 2, trust me, is good enough to be a good striker in Division 1. So, like a Jamie Vardy, he was playing in 6th division, but he was good enough to be the top striker in Premier Division. But our coach will never go down because he can't see down because there is no football happening there.
Hmm.
So
There is no proper structure. It has to be in a proper format. Only then that I feel
no,
that even we will. Yeah.
yes, exactly. See, people keep on saying India can't produce. It's not India's national team. I'm being honest with you. It's a
Hmm.
national team of around, I would say, 50 to 100 million people out of 1400 million, which we are, 1.4 billion. ये मैंने कैसे calculate किया है? You can only select footballers from place where there is football. Okay?
Hmm.
Okay. तो कितने states हैं जो हर साल state league कराते हैं? So let's have a criteria कि एटलीस्ट हर साल उन्होंने 5 साल फॉरगेट द कोविड टाइम में नहीं कराई 2019 से पहले 5 साल लगातार कौन से स्टेट्स ने स्टेट लीग करवाई थी तो वहीं से प्लेयर निकलेंगे ऑब्वियसली अदरवाइज
Hmm.
लोकल टूर्नामेंट से नहीं निकलेंगे सो कितने थे देवर ओनली 5 states in India who were doing state leagues every year for 5 consecutive years. That means they had some kind of a system. So, and those states are Goa, they are Mizoram, they are Manipur, Maharashtra, and Punjab. and Delhi also stopped in the middle for 4 5 years, and they also just started 3 4 years back. So when you look at, and obviously Bengal. See, when I didn't mention Bengal because Bengal doesn't have a state league; it has Calcutta League. So what
Hmm.
about the clubs in Siliguri and Darjeeling? You think they're not good enough to compete with clubs in Calcutta? But उनको मौका ही नहीं देते. The champion of Calcutta goes for second division. How is that fair? It should be
Hmm.
champion of Bengal. Same way in Maharashtra, it's not the champion of Maharashtra goes, champion of Mumbai goes. What about Kolhapur?
Hmm.
What about Nagpur? What about Pune? They don't have good clubs. They do. But why aren't they included there to try for second division? So Mumbai city and Calcutta city are two cities जिनमें football होता है. Then
Hmm.
Goa is, as population is smaller than Mumbai and that also, and Punjab also population is smaller. और मिजोरम की
Hmm.
population आपको पता ही है. Same with Manipur. तो इंडिया के फुटबॉल में वो 5 6 करोड़ की पॉपुलेशन या 10 करोड़ की पॉपुलेशन से टीम सेलेक्ट करते हैं. अब 10 करोड़ में से कितने बंदे फुटबॉल खेलते हैं? प्रोबेबली 10 लाख. और प्रोफेशनल फुटबॉल कितना खेलते हैं? 10,000. और 10,000 में से दैट्स द नंबर ऑफ पीपल हुज इंडियन टीम में सेलेक्ट होता है, नॉट 1.4 बिलियन पीपल.
Hmm.
Because and then उन 10,000 में से do they select from all 10,000? No, only the ones who are playing in the ISL. And how many are there?
Hmm.
40. Why? Because out of the foreigners, only 5 Indians get regular game time in every game. So 5 into 11 means, or 10 means 50. Goalkeeper को नाम मिला तो 50 players. 50 players are
Goalkeeper तो
included.
yeah,
So how can he
exactly.
select good players from 50 every time the same 50 come up to him? How will you make a good
Hmm.
Indian? That's why performance has been going down like this. And since 2000, since ISL happened, see, if the performance had been going great, like the facilities are great, I would have been the happiest person, because then my dream and our dream and your dream, everybody's dream is the same. In
Hmm.
fact, look at my generation, your generation, even the generation below you, and the generation above me. The dream is only one: India should get to the World Cup in our lifetime, man. I mean, come on.
That could have happened from this AFC Women's Asian Cup as well, and I was so psyched about it. I wanted to cover. I read everything about the women team, which is so difficult to find. That's a national women team, and it was so difficult to find anything about them. But I'll be very honest, I didn't know them as well. But just because of the
But
AFC
it's
Women's
not
Asian
your
Cup, I started
fault,
to.
ma. See, you didn't know them because these guys didn't think it's important enough to make them stars already. So if suppose I was running AFF, or if I was the head of this women's thing, I would have made sure each of these women were national stars before the tournament started. Why? Because you already
So
had the team
yeah.
with you. Yeah. So you have the support of the whole country.
Hmm.
And you are
I,
right.
I I
If this
actually exactly
COVID
I
thing
bought
would have
this shirt.
happened,
Yeah, I bought
yeah,
this shirt and I was like, I'm gonna support the team. And after the first match, I took the analysis down पूरा कि कैसे मैं cover करूंगी. And I was waiting for the next match to happen. And then it's gone. And it was just because I had made a proper plan what I'm going to do with this. I knew I'm not gonna get views on it. It doesn't matter. But it's just that if I won't start, then who will? I
in,
just wanted to go with that. But
exactly.
then
See, but the point is, I again wouldn't have had a problem because COVID is a disease which can happen to anyone, and all of us have had it. But the point is not that. The point is, if there were 16 teams and only one team has suffered from it, then there's a problem. And then
exactly.
when our president comes out the next day and says, the first statement is not that, okay, fine, these women have lost a great opportunity, I'll make sure they do something. The first statement is that let's not point any fingers. Whereas
Yeah.
the first thing a leader should do is point fingers and find out where things have been fucked up. So it's never repeated again. It should never happen again. At
Hmm.
least we should learn from our mistakes where the screw ups happened. Because none of the other countries who were foreigners visiting our country were able to be kept
Hmm.
safe, except we in our
Hmm.
own country couldn't keep our girls safe. Now look at the girls. See, people don't realize this thing. "Chalo, theek hai, ho jayega agle se." नहीं होएगा. ये girls के लिए World Cup कभी नहीं होएगा. इनमें से probably
Absolutely.
20% will play. People don't understand. It's not the same girls who will get this chance. These girls will never
Hmm.
get this chance. And I guarantee you, 50% of them would leave football because they've not got this chance, because parents will marry them off and they will not be
Hmm.
out. But if they had played football and they'd become stars, which they would have guaranteed, क्यों ये लड़कियों ने बाहर देना
Hmm.
था Philippines को, and they would have qualified for the World Cup. And that would have started the revolution in India. So it's not men, women, anyone
Hmm.
would have qualified. Now, if you become a
Absolutely.
household name like Jackson Singh because of one goal, they would have become a household name. And then their
Hmm.
father would have said, नहीं ठीक है यार, मेरी बेटी आराम से, she can become a star like this. I don't need to marry her off. She can do well on her own. And
Hmm.
she can marry whenever she feels like. Do you know how many parents will make, not only looking at what has happened to them, make girls leave football? Because what has happened after that? Those girls के लिए कुछ नहीं अनाउंस हुआ. ये नहीं बोला कि ठीक है,
Hmm.
we'll look after them and they'll prepare for the next competition. Everybody is just quiet. In fact, उनको blanket ban लगा दिया कि you cannot talk to the media. See, when you put a blanket ban on someone, that means you have something to hide. If
Hmm.
they girls will not make up stories and tell us, okay? But if you're putting a blanket ban, that means there is something to hide, na? You are afraid that something wrong will go out. So
That was so sad, seriously. That is something and questions should be raised, especially on that, because that was our chance. We could have, at least we could have even dreamed
I
of going
believe,
to the
I
World Cup.
believe, I totally believe we would have. I really
Seriously,
believe we would have.
it was such a bad time. And actually I was so excited. I was telling my parent, they have no interest in football. It's all the cricket wala generation that my parents wala they have.
Obviously.
So they have no interest in football. So I was telling that, mama, this is what is happening. The match हो रहे हैं हमारे यहाँ ही हो रहे हैं इंडिया में. So you know what, support them. आपको मैं बताऊंगी कौन से चैनल पे आएगा. But what was left, क्या narrative था, क्या उनको आगे बताना था, this is what is happening and where it could have taken us. So I think it was such a bad thing that happened. And then after that, ठीक है, थोड़े टाइम के लिए बात चला उस चीज पे, and then gone. Nobody questions anything.
Nobody
Everybody just
questioned it.
moved on like it never
And
happened.
now,
But what about
and
those
now see,
women?
that's what I'm saying. Nobody talks about those women. Now the under 17 World Cup which happened, the Women's World Cup which was supposed to happen here, like the men's World Cup. Now those girls in COVID times, the ones who had been selected, were actually working as laborers in Jharkhand. Okay, and somebody put up their stories that they're working as daily wage laborers and AF is not looking after them. So I made a tweet about it and I found I couldn't, I just said, okay, please, can anyone connect me to these girls? So there's a guy there. He said, okay, I'll connect you, sir. So he gave me the numbers of those girls who were working there, and I made sure my guys called them up and gave them 10,000 rupees, whatever I could afford, 10,000 rupees. So at least immediately they have to stop working there and focus on the World Cup, which is coming up in India. And then suddenly AFF got up and said, oh, yeah, we are sending them 50,000 rupees each. We didn't send them right now because we didn't have their contact numbers. This is the excuse they come up with. You don't have the contact number of your national team under 17 World Cup girls who is going to happen within a few months. वो तो बाद में postpone हुआ था ना, उस time तो किसी को पता नहीं था कि postpone होएगा.
Hmm.
So this is how they care. That there's total apathy against women's football. In fact, I feel so sad because I know women have reached they are half the ranking the men are, almost like 55, so they are 102,
Hmm.
half the ranking. That means the women have a much better chance of qualifying for the World Cup than the men, or much faster at least.
Hmm.
So how much are we doing and what are we doing to support them as a federation? I'm talking about
Hmm.
AIFF. Nothing. In fact, they're making their lives hell. इंडियन वुमेन्स लीग होनी थी, वो इमेजिन हमारा AFC कप हो रहा है यहाँ पे, उससे पहले बाकी सारी क्लब्स टीम्स पूरा अपने क्लब का सीजन खेला है, उसके बाद इंटरनेशनल फ्रेंडलीज खेली है. हमारी लड़कियां ने जो गई थी वर्ल्ड कप के लिए, सॉरी एशियन कप के लिए, ना उन्होंने कोई फ्रेंडली खेले, ना इन्होंने कोई इंडियन वुमेन्स लीग खेली, होने लगी थी, कैंसिल कर दी. But they did the men's league. They did the second
Hmm.
division also. They did the ISL also. But women's league was cancelled. And women's league was going to be the shortest, 30 days, 25 days in one venue. It would have been the easiest to do.
Hmm.
Then they keep on saying about coaching. It's so horrible that they don't organize pro license and A license coaches for so long, and then they can say that only ISL coaches, the head Indians, can only be heads if they are pro licenses. Now they're going to be organizing a pro license after 8 years. Last one was 8 years ago. So you can't keep people down just by not offering the courses.
Hmm.
You have a rule that Indians can't be the head coach. Why? Because they can't have they don't have pro license, and you yourself are not organizing pro license for 8 years. So the priorities are all wrong. The priority should be
Absolutely.
grassroots and coaching education and making the game more accessible to the remotest parts of the country. So
Hmm.
supporting that. And they are not doing anything because they can't even ensure that each of their state members, and the only basic in the constitution is supposed to be there, that every state should have their women's league, men's league, and under 13, 15, 18 boys league, the girls league, and they should have a baby league. Now, this is very basic, man. This is not rocket science. How many states are actually doing all of this? Zero. Zero. They're
Hmm.
not organizing leagues. So if you don't organize football, how will you find players?
Annoys you that whatever is happening, football is such a beautiful game, but there is such little percentage, small percentage of people watching it, and it's not that they don't want to, but it's just कहाँ से क्या करें जब
For
शुरू किया था
example,
देखने का.
I'm being honest with you. If I get an opportunity to be watching Liverpool versus Man City, and on the other side there's an ISL game going on, I will be watching Liverpool Man City. Why? Because tomorrow, if I have to go and teach my academy kids, or if I have to talk about football in life, I'd rather be talking about the best in the world, which is them. Now, how do we get there? By following what they have done, how they have got there. How have they got there? By having a grassroots system and having a promotion and relegation. Are we doing anything they are doing? No. But we still keep on saying we want to get there, we want to get there, we want to get there.
Hmm.
So it's so simple. See, what I am saying and what the all the countries who have done well in football have said is the same thing. It's not rocket science. You have to have a proper system. Learn from cricket. Look at
Hmm.
cricket's grassroots systems. For every district, they have a super sopper, which is the thing which recovers water from the ground. Each of those
Hmm.
machines cost 2 crores. How have they got that money? From the IPL. Because IPL is owned by BCCI. So all the money earned by BCCI comes from IPL, and they can't take it home. Even if they are corrupt, they can't take it home. They have to spend it
Hmm.
on Indian cricket. So by and large, it goes back. Whereas now, if when ISL will be big, it will be. Obviously, it's Indian league after 5, 10 years, it'll become very big.
Hmm.
That's why Man City is coming to buy Mumbai City and Basel is going and buying
Hmm.
Chennai City. Obviously. So when this becomes big, all the money will go into Mr. Ambani's account. And why will he spend it back on Indian football? He has no obligation to. And not only him, and no businessman would. That was the why he invested in it, because he wanted a return in the end. That is going to be his return. He's not bothered about these few crores. He's looking at the
Hmm.
thousands and thousands of crores which will come after 10 years. And
Hmm.
that money will never go back into Indian football. See, you to understand, our level has become worse. Why? How have I come to know? Is basic knowledge. 10 years ago, we used to be beating Sri Lanka. Go and look up the results. Anyone? 4-0,
Hmm.
5-0, 6-0, 7-0. Nepal the same. Afghanistan the same. Bangladesh the same. And now we are sometimes losing to these countries or drawing with them. So now look
Hmm.
what drawing with Sri Lanka means. No offense, but they are ranked 205 and we are ranked 102. That means they are 103 spaces behind us. Now, who's 103 spaces ahead of us? The world number one, Belgium or Germany,
Hmm.
Spain or France. Can we even think of
France.
drawing with them? No. If we draw with them, there will be a murder happening on their streets because, oh my God, you've gone and drawn with India. When we go and draw with Sri Lanka, nobody cares. We go and lose
I
to
think there was
UAE.
this SAF championship, yes, SAF championship, and I think we
Yes,
were really
yes, SAF
struggling, and we
championship.
started really, really bad, and then later on, I think we won it, but
Yes.
it was very
See,
difficult the way we did
yeah,
it.
but
It
imagine
wasn't
सैफ कप नहीं जीता जा रहा हमारे से हम कहाँ पे वर्ल्ड कप पहुंचेंगे यूएई से यूएई में don't look at the population, look
six
at the
nil.
actual population of UAE. That means the Emirati population is 11 lakh, 1.1 million are the actual people who get selected for the World Cup. बाकी तो सारे foreigners हैं, they can't get selected. So 1.1 million, that means 11 लाख की बंदों में से उन्होंने ऐसी टीम बना ली जिन्होंने हमारे को 6-0 आके मार दिया यार.
I remember
So there
that.
is something wrong somewhere, na? And it's not Indians can't do it because we are doing it in all other sports. So it has to be the
Hmm.
way the football is run in the country, and that is why I keep blaming the federation, and that is why I keep
Hmm.
blaming FSDL and Reliance as well because now they own the federation. If they don't want it, the federation will never do it. So now
Hmm.
we know they own it. It's an open fact that they are running everything. They should understand that if they focus more on grassroots, they will get high quality players, maybe a Mohamed Salah playing in the ISL. Then ISL will make his first transfer to Barcelona, someplace like that. Then the value of ISL will get high, and then
Hmm.
they'll make more money, man. End of
Hmm.
the day, the clubs will be valued higher if they've got better quality players. So if we are ranked right now 102, nobody watches our league even in India. Suppose we are ranked in the top 20 in the world, people in India will
Hmm.
definitely watch, and
Hmm.
people around the world will also watch. Look at the value of your club. If it's 250 crores or 300 crores right now, it will be 3,000 crores. because then you'll be making transfers to Real Madrid and Barcelona and all those clubs. And that's when you come into the contention, like South Korean clubs are doing, like Iranian clubs are doing, like
Hmm.
uh, Japanese clubs are doing on a daily basis. See,
We have
their
got
players.
a Japanese player in our team, Takumi Minamino. That's a Japanese player representing. There is a Son in
Yes,
Tottenham. So,
yes, yes.
they don't belong to India, but just it feels so good to see an Asian playing there. And
Just
imagine
imagine.
somebody from India playing, and that's
And
going to be a
see,
huge
okay,
thing.
now again, if you had said that, Indians can't play football, I would have believed it if I had never seen Indian jeans ka player play. So we've had people like Saprit Singh who won Bayern Munich. We've had people who are I don't remember, Danny Bath, who was the captain of Wolves, centre back, who's played with them for 20 years, and he's half Indian. Then we've got Narsing, who plays for Ajax and he's played for big teams as well. See, all these guys have got Indian blood. The only difference is the Indians have been brought up abroad. So that means it's not the genes which matter, na. It's where you've been developed. So they got proper development. And if you put an Indian from here, there, and they get proper development, the same development can happen here. It's not rocket science. They're not giving them drugs. They're not giving them steroids. They are just making kids play with the system. So if they can do it, and with our kids, I'm not even saying, okay, Germans are special and they're doing it with Germans. No, they're doing it with Indians
Hmm.
and making them reach. So why the fuck can't we do
Hmm.
it, man?
Hmm.
Because we don't have a system. And who's supposed to do the system? AIFF. And that's again and again my big thing, that for the last 13 years, the same person has been in power, and he's been in power now illegally because he's not having elections. So any place,
Hmm.
forget AIFF, any place, even in my country, if my prime minister was there without an election, all of us would have a big problem about it because he's not
Hmm.
elected. That is what is happening in football, and that was what was supposed to be the sports code coming in for. The only place where the sports national sports code is not being followed is football. Everywhere else being followed, and that is why you see we are doing well in all other sports. Suddenly we are doing well in sports.
Hmm. And this really hurts to see where football is going, but can we like end this on a positive note? There is some hope, there is something that is
Yes,
happening. And in your career, in your football career that you have seen, are there any changes that you have seen? Maybe very
yes,
little, but are there
yes. No,
changes?
no, no, no. There are, see, it's not all doom and gloom. What has happened is that lot. I was fighting for this thing called player compensation, and that is for academies. So unless you have that, then otherwise it becomes totally nonsensical for having an academy, because you keep on putting in money and nothing ever comes out. And even if you make a
Hmm.
player, then the player, when he becomes a player, somebody else earns money from him. So why have an academy? So
Hmm.
this was everywhere in the world except in India. And we made sure we made a start. So now we've started seeing a lot of academies, and you must have seen a lot of academies opening up everywhere. That's a very good start. Because if AIFF can't open its centers, and if private people are doing it, great, good enough. Then we are focusing now. We see, earlier we never used to heard of it. Now we see baby leagues. That is the golden thing. The golden baby leagues should be happening every single place, because that's where we're going to find the next Mohamed Salah, the guy. See, again and again, they keep on saying Messi, Messi. I say, if you give Messi the ball for the football for the first time when he was 40, will he be Messi? No. He's Messi because he
Hmm.
played with the ball since the age of 5, morning, evening, morning, evening, morning, evening. How many Messis have you already missed? Like Dhoni. Dhoni was a goalkeeper.
Hmm.
He shifted. Leander Paes, he was a footballer again and striker tha, and he became a tennis player because he didn't have opportunities. So we are losing
Hmm.
world champions to other sports. And now, hopefully, what we have done with the World Cup batch, the silver lining, we've selected these boys from all over India, and we've scouted them, we've trained them. You'll see a silver lining coming up very, very soon, because we are participating in the MENA Cup, where India will be we are representing India, means as Minerva Academy in the World Cup batch. By the way, we're playing in the light blue colors of India.
Wow.
We'll be playing against Barcelona's academy. We'll be playing against Man City's academy. We'll be playing against Zenit St. Petersburg. I don't know if the Russians will be allowed to come or not now, but if they come, yes, we'll be playing against their academy. So hopefully you see the future of India right there, and the matches will be all live. So I want you all guys to come support us, and make sure you give your comments there, because these boys, go and look it up, because they are just 11 and 12 and 10, in
Yeah.
fact 10, 11 and 12. You'll see that Indians have gone a very far, far, far way, and you'll be so proud. You'll be so, so proud of India that day when you see the first match. I'm sure of it.
I can't wait to do that, to see those boys. And sir, one word of appreciation or one comment of appreciation, if that a young kid of 12 years old will read about how his game went, he would know that he's being recognized, and the
Yes.
effort that he will put behind his game, and the hard work that is required would be immense. And I think that can take us somewhere. But when you know that it's hopeless kind of situation, you don't know where it's going to go. That is when I think there is nobody's even going to put some effort from their end.
So you
So
will, I guarantee you, you will see a lot of hope. Just watching those boys, all your hope will be, you'll have wide smiles like this.
perfect, sir. I can't wait for that. But I'll just not take more of your time. Thank you so much for coming. But before going, since apa dono Punjabi hain, so I thought that is there any Punjabi song or Punjabi singer that you really look up to?
Oh, see, we all have our favorites. So in fact, I love Musewala. I love AP Dillon. I love all the latest ones. So I'm a big gangster rap fan as it is.
AP
Uh,
Dillon has done crazy, sir. Like I came
oh
here and
my
Bengalis are listening to AP Dillon, and I'm like, what is happening?
See, Gautam's AP Dillon has done really, really well, and especially the new songs which have come out is really, really good.
Yeah.
But
Even
see,
Diljit Dosanjh, sir. Diljit Dosanjh has
yeah,
done
but
so good. Even
he's also a great actor and a singer. So he's a very multi-talented personality. So we've got
and
few.
so down to earth. Like when you listen to his
And
interviews and
see,
everything.
he wants to be shown as a Sardar and as with the
Yeah.
pug and all that. So that's so proud when you see that on screen and sharing that. So it's so proud. In fact, we just released a Anthem, which is one of the World Cup anthem, which is a hip hop song, which is sung by the same guy who released Mumbai City's anthem when they won the title. And it's awesome. It starts with me saying this line. They say that Indians can't play football. I've heard enough of this shit. And then the goals start happening, and then we show everything. So you must go watch that song as well.
That is so good. I didn't know about that. I will definitely check that
I'll
one
send you
out.
the link. I'll send you the link, and then you
All
can
right,
put it
sir.
up.
So
You can put it up after this so that everyone can see it.
hold up अपने बंदे हो रहे तैयार युग जाने सारे हम किसी से ना कम है यार वर्ल्ड की तैयारी अब से हम भी कर रहे सीना तान के अब तू भी जान ले रणनीति अपनी है तैयार hold up खिलाड़ी अपने एक से हार ये खेल नहीं जंगे फुल टाइम के बाद फैलाते प्यार वर्ल्ड की तैयारी कर रहे हम
thank you so much. So guys, don't forget to
I had
subscribe
a
to
lot
my
of
channel. Hit that. I had a lot of fun with you, sir, as well.
yes.
It
You
was such a
have to like,
positive and
share, and subscribe, man. Come on.
yes, please do that. Thank you so much for watching. Namaste, guys.